Okay. Welcome back, everybody. So we are ready with the next book review, which the new book review, which is The Brain, The Story of You, which is being presented by Vaishnavi Khamburkar Didi. So just to give you a brief introduction about Vaishnavi Didi. She is a lawyer practicing at Nagpur High Court, and she has done her LLB and LLM, and currently pursuing company secretary's course. So, the brain is a very fascinating piece of computer. It's so elegant, and you can say it's a supercomputer. And our brain has very untold interesting facts. And for example, it's a common myth. I don't know if it's a myth. It's a common saying that we only use 10% of our brain. And if we do so, just look around yourself and see what our current progress is. Now, if we use more capacity to its fullest, then think what will happen. Our brain is 2 kgs heavy. There are a lot of interesting facts. It's 2 kilograms heavy, and it sits in our skull without breaking our spinal cord. Uh, the backbone. Now, how does that happen? Because there's a fluid in our brain which exerts an upthrust, and that reduces the force, the weight on the and that weight of the brain, and that reduces the stress on the backbone. So without further ado, and I won't take a lot of your points, so I'll pass over the virtual dais to you. Over to you.
Thank you, Joy. I won't go how I chose the topic. I'll directly start my review. In short, I just want to tell that this book contains a lot of experiences of people, what they have gone through due to a particular disease, if they met with an accident, what happened, how their life changed, and how blind people, how blind people suddenly, when getting their vision, how they have cope up with their living, and a lot of experiments have been done, so that today we can come here and talk about what exactly is the functioning of brain. We can say it is a mini supercomputer, having a 3-pound mini supercomputer, which our lives are running, which is running us. We are its servants. He's the puppeteer, we are the puppets. He's running the whole show. So with this note, I only would like to point out what exactly the brain, what our life is, that we are not fixed. We are lots of works in progress. Our life is not fixed. We are lots of works in progress. And with this note, I would like to start my book review. And the first chapter talks about is, who am I? When we are born, humans are born, they are dependent species. They are dependent on their parents, they are dependent on their relatives, grandparents, the surroundings which it has. And it, in contrast to that, to our fellow cousins, cousin mammals, they are pre-programmed in nature. If in a simple sense, I'll say, they learn more quickly. They are independent in nature, because they have to live in such habitat. So they are pre-programmed in that way, which we are not. We start our lives, and then we learn and we adapt. And this is the nature of our brain. But an animal, if we compare it to a dolphin instantly learns how to swim. A zebra within few minutes knows how to run. And this is one aspect to it, and which is not with humans. In compared to humans, humans learn slowly. They have a slower approach, but we are the superior beings. An animal, if we take an example of rhinoceros, it won't be able to survive in Himalayas or in the middle of a city. It has its own habitat, and that is his limitation. And that is the problem with animals. They have their limitations. They cannot survive outside their habitat. And this is a plus point. This is a superior thing which humans can do. Whatever, be it the jungles of Africa, be it uh, Arctic region, Himalayan region, humans are surviving. And why they are surviving, why they have this flexible nature, is because of the number of cells having the connections in the brain. The connections define the performance of the connections, define the brain. When a child is of 2 years, if you can see the diagram, a newborn child has lesser connections, and after he's born, the neurons in the brain starts connecting it, and within 9 months, it has grown to so much connections, and a 2-year child has so many trillions of connections in his brain. But by the time he grows, the connections are reduced. The connections in a scientific term is called as synapses. The synapses are reduced by 50%. They are cut out. The brain requires only those which are material for it, which are important for it. The unnecessary one, it breaks off. And I'll just stop the screen sharing. So I would like to share a story, more of a real life experience. Um, Real life experience is that an American couple adopted 3 Romanian children. They were orphans. They adopted John, Tom, and Victoria, and they started noticing that they were talking in a strange language. They asked the taxi driver what they were speaking. The taxi driver told, this is no language. They are speaking gibberish. Because where they were raised, due to the atmosphere, their interactions were, were cut off. They were starved. They were starved for interactions. They were starved from any kind of communication. So they formed their own strange way of communicating with each other. So back in 1966, the former president of Romania, Nicolae Ceausescu, what he did was to increase the population of the country. He banned abortion and contraceptive pills. And any family who had less than 5 children had to pay celibacy tax. So many poor families and middle class family, they are not able to raise 5 6 children, so they used to give up their children to government institutions. And what used to happen in government institutions is that a baby is crying, they were left like that. No care, no attention was given. And because of that, they started having uh, they were having language problems. They were not able to understand the language. They were not able to. They were only given the simple necessities: food, water, shelter, clothing. That was only it. They were just the subjects. They were not human beings. Like, if we tell how concentrated camps used to work, they were running such institutions. So Dr. Charles Nelson was, when he visited the institution in 1999, he was shocked to and horrified how they are taking care of these children. The IQs of these children, if compared to a average child has IQ of 100. They were having 60s, 70s. They were lacking that. And then an experiment was done. Such children had underdeveloped brains. They had delayed language. And what Dr. Nelson did, there's an equipment called EEG, electroencephalography, and that helps to measure the neural signal in the brain. And when the children were being experimented, they had dramatically lesser neural signals, and the activity was reduced. So to have a normal functioning brain, it is very important to have a loving and caring environment for a child. And while we go through the teen years are the most trickiest part for a human being. Now, because we question, why is he behaving like that? What such attitude is he possessing? um, why is he behaving like that? So the reason behind is, everyone knows there are hormonal changes in the body, the appearance changes, puberty hits, girls face menstruation, but the act but there are equal number of changes going inside a brain also, and that affects that is more uh, important, and that is changing how the teen behaves. So there was an experiment done. A set of volunteers, they had both adults and teens. So they were sat on a stool, and the curtains were pulled down, and the passerbys, they were staring at them. So the adults reacted in a certain way that was normal, but the teens were anxious, they were trembling, and the difference lies why their behavior was different. It lies in the area called prefrontal cortex. This region is activated when one person thinks about themselves and in more of an emotional state. So in teen years, MPFC, if we call it that, become more active compared to an adult brain. So that's why the neural changes goes inside the brain, and they behave in a certain manner. So if we talk about, parents need to focus on why is he reacting, uh, rather than why, they need to understand why is he reacting in a certain way, and they should support, come and listen to the child, listen to the teenager, and that is going to help him a lot. And there are sometimes there are pathological changes that goes inside the brain. um, a brain works in a certain way, it's functioning normally, properly, and a human being sometimes met with an accident, or faces a disease, he caught up with a disease or something, or an injury. So he goes through it, and because of that, how the brain reacts is very important to understand the pathological nature of the brain. When there was this person called Charles Whiteman, he had shot more than 13 people, and wounded more than 33, and the police then shot down, and he was killed in a so when the police were investigating, and they went to his home, they found he had already murdered his wife and his mother. And they found a letter written by him, and the letter told that, I am a normal person with this job, and from past few months, I don't know what kind of changes are happening. I am becoming more aggressive, and I want an autopsy to be done on my body. And that thing was granted. And when they found, there was a tumor in his brain, and that tumor was a size of a nickel, and that was pressing against amygdala. Amygdala is a part, and it activates in case of fear and aggression. It activates, and that was pressing against amygdala. And this change led to a series of horrific events into Whitman's life. So such pathological changes also happens. So in coming to the next chapter, it talks about what exactly is reality, what are our surroundings, what we see, what we listen, what we talk, what we hear. The functionings of the sensory organs are going on, and we think these are the most vital parts of our body. But the only work of sensory organ is to grasp the information and provide it to the brain, and then the brain does the whole thing. So what we see, the rich colors, the textures, the sounds the music which we listen, what if I tell you everything, every color, texture, all this is an illusion which your own brain has created. The brain has created these illusions. In reality, it's shocking, but the world is colorless, it is odorless, it is tasteless. It is the brain that does the functioning and has presented in such a way with the help of sensory organs. If I tell you, if we cut off the sensory organs, what will happen to us? So the author, David Eagleman, visited an infamous prison called the Alcatraz. So there he visited, and there was a concept called as hole, a cell, a prison called as hole. In India, we call it as Anda cell. It is a prison with a 10 by 10 feet 10 by 10 feet. It is pitch black. There is no scope for light. There is no sound. And he spoke to some of the inmates who have lived in the hole. So there was this one person who he interacted with, and he told that I was there for 29 days. I was in the hole for 29 days. And it is a very, very bad place. I was banging my head against the wall, and it was making me mad. But then what happened? This happened with many of the prisoners who were sent to the hole. So what they said, in such conditions, the mind creates an imaginary world where we are, like, we call it as daydreaming. We daydream that we are doing this, the outer world. So that was happening. The prisoners were daydreaming. They were thinking about the outer world, how we live, how we are spending time with our relatives, and that helped. Sensory organs are important, but without it also, the brain is properly functioning. And as we called in earlier, when I told the world is colorless, odorless, why is it? I would like to tell. Color acts as an interpretation, and that interpretation, if I'm seeing an object, it acts as an interpretation between the wavelengths in the brain, and that through eyes, through the wavelengths we see. And the same thing is happening. What we smell, is the air that is present, that has been compressed and expanded in our nose. The molecules in our nose, the receptors capture it, and they go to the brain, and then that is what we smell. And the same thing happens to the what we hear, the sounds. The sounds which we hear are because of the compression of air and expansion of air, which is picked up by our ears and transmitted to the brain. And those signals are shown to us, that we are listening to the music, we are listening to tones, we are listening to jangles, this and that. So this interpretation is created by the brain. This is exactly what the brain tell us. What we are seeing is not what we are believing. The brain interprets And that is what we need to believe. So this comes to a question, to a newer chapter, that who is in control? Who is like, we make the decisions. This is our free will. We are doing this. India is a democratic country. We have the right to do. But moreover that, internally, this brain is making our decisions. The network of neurons, the set of neurons, are deciding how we act, what matters to us, how we react, what is true, what is false, what we love, what is our desire. Everything is being decided inside this brain. So if I give you an example, uh, that how this works is that I'm drinking a cup of coffee. The action is very simple. I have done like we do it thousands of times. We have done it so easy. Just lift a coffee and take a sip. But inside the brain, what exactly is happening is that first, a visual system scans. It scans the exact scene, the surrounding, the cup. Then memories are triggered, like for like in the past, how many times I have drank coffee, what were the experiences that are triggered. And then the frontal cortex sends signals to the motor cortex. Then the motor cortex coordinates with the muscle contraction, our arms, our torso, our hands. It gives the direction. And then when I pick up the glass, the information the hand collects, the signals which go through and go to the mind through spinal cord, is that what is the temperature, how much is the coffee, what is the volume of the coffee, or what is the position. So this is a two-way communication, and the brain is giving us command to drink the coffee. It looks such a simple thing, and we don't even pay notice, but these are the dynamics that are happening inside a brain. And to come to that, what decisions we make, a new chapter is given, that how do I decide. Every day we are making smaller decisions in our life. This should be done, we should whether write the email, whether we should answer the mails, whether we should talk to the clients, whether we should eat. N number of small decisions we make. We think we are making it, but this is not the truth. A network of neurons are doing that. Every neuron has a particular desire and a particular goal that it shows. And the network, if suppose I take an example, I want to eat an ice cream, whether I should eat it or not, this decision I am making. So there are set of neurons, they want sugar, they want you have to eat the ice cream. And there are other set of neurons which are telling, no, you can't eat the ice cream, it's going to harm you long term wise, you should not eat the ice cream. And there is a third set of neurons which say, you can eat the ice cream now, but then you have to go to the gym. So the brain becomes a neural parliament. The neural parliament it becomes, and the final decisions, it decides generously, decides impulsively, it decides slowly, for a long term basis. Such decisions, the network of neurons showcase. And the way they communicate with each other, the way the neurons communicate with each other through electrical spikes, are called action potentials. Action potentials, they are called. And if I tell you, like, the decisions which we make for a better understanding to live in this society, we all are slaves of our impulses. Certainly everyone, like, someone craves for food, someone craves for anything. We all are slaves of our impulses. And one of such, which the society is facing, is the problem of drug addiction. The US government annually invest more than not the right term, invest, it spends more than $20 billion in the war against drugs. And all over the world, all over, it's more than 100 billion. And what exactly happens is that the drug demands in the brain of the addict. The brain is demanding the drug. What the drug does is it effectively tells the brain that you should eat me, you should consume me, I am a better option for you, you should consume me. This it a set of networks, it showcase the network of neurons that showcase the drug addiction. Then there are uh, certain networks that show no, you should not, you have to suppress your addiction, you cannot it. And this battle between the two sets of neurons goes. And at the end, unfortunately, the drug craving network wins. And because of it, when it wins, the drugs we become slaves of the drugs, of our impulses. An experiment was done. There was a lady called Karen, 50 years old. She was a drug addict. She consumed cocaine and other drugs. So what they did was, a brain scanner was fit in her mind. The brain scanner is called the functioning magnetic resonance imaging, and it showed different kinds of photos, like persons having a person consuming drugs, and how her brain is reacting, how the set of networks, the drug craving network is reacting. And the signals used to go, the monitor used to show it in the display. And then the doctors told her, now think about how it is going to affect you, how it is going to affect your family, how is it going to affect your relationship, your finances, your employment. So that created a different sets of suppressing network. And then a speedometer was attached, and that showed if who is winning. If the craving network is winning, then it becomes the speedometer needle goes to the red zone, and if the suppressing network wins, it goes to the blue zone. So in this way she was able to control. It took time, but she was able to control her drug addiction. And such things can be done, because if the governments are investing such a huge number, billions of dollars they are investing to fight against drug addiction. So supply is not the main goal, it is the demand. First we need to answer the demand and look after it. And this in completion to it, it brings us to in the chapter number 5, do I need you. The body requires, our brain requires, we think the brain requires what is called as food. It creates energy. The brain requires the energy to function. Then water it needs, the oxygen it needs. Equally, it also needs human interactions. The neurons in the brain needs other people's neurons to interact and to thrive and to survive. No interactions, we all know a person goes into depression, what he faces, other kinds of things we all know. So the every person needs interaction. And if I give an example, when we go to watch a movie, and different kind of themes, some are action, some are comedy. And what emotions we feel is watching the movies is we get angry, we laugh, we cry. These are the emotions. But why we are crying? I don't know that person, I don't know the actor, but we relate to that actor. And why it is that is, when we feel, if a syringe is inserted in my body, the entire structure, the entire brain focuses on that particular pain. And that particular network, that signal is
You're not audible. I think there's some
When
network issues. Can you please repeat?
hello.
There were some network issues on your side, so we weren't able to hear you for the
Okay, okay,
last 5 to 6 seconds. So,
okay. Now, am I audible?
yeah,
Yeah,
crystal.
yeah. I was talking about um, the movies which we see. How can we relate with the actors so much? Why do we feel their sorrow? Why do we react to them so much? Why they are such important parts of life? When we go through, if I give an example, if I am inserting a needle, syringe is inside, the whole brain focuses on that particular pain that the needle is inserted, and this set of network is called the pain matrix that it goes. And it is, the pain matrix is very crucial to connect to others. When someone is pain, if I am talking to my friend, she's telling me a story, I am able to understand her, I'm able to empathize her. This is empathy, through which we respond. And that is because we have felt the same thing. Every person won't react to the same way, but there is a certain amount of empathy which we all can relate, which we all can understand. And this brings, I am not going into that much of details because this book is very, very great, and the experiments are worth reading. So I'm just explaining certain parts of the chapters. So, chapter number 6 talks about who will we be as do we think the brain also has limitations? Every single second, the human brain is being challenged. The technology, the biology is challenging the brain, and we are discovering new things, new ideas, new discoveries are being made. So there's an organization from past 50 years. Um, the organization's name is Alka Life Extension Foundation, and it is trying to develop a technology which will give you a second life, like a second, like one life ends, and then if your body is preserved, then we can then if the technology works, your life can start from there. It gives you a second life. This experiment, this organization is doing. So the people have signed up for this experiment. Many people have signed up for this experiment, and and what exactly happens, I'll explain to you. What they do when a person dies, this organization is contacted, and the executives immediately come and they take over the body. They take over the body and they preserve it in a freezing temperature. They preserve it, and then when it comes to the organization, uh, experiments are done, and those experiments are called as cryptopreservation. It is a way through chemicals and other ways where a body is being um, preserved from the biological decay it goes through. And it is kept, the body is kept in a minus 124 degrees Celsius. This is the temperature which the body is kept. It's a dead body. Alka knows that this may never happen. It understands, but there is a hope, there is a belief, and technology has gone from such height that it may happen in the future generation. And with that hope, they are working into that. And in the coming years, there are a lot of theories, there are a lot of mysteries which we are discovering, which the humans are discovering. And our species is uh, going through, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of something which we fully don't understand. Now, with this, I would like to complete my review, and here I give it to Joy. Thank you. Thank you.
It was really a great review, and you mentioned this thing that all that we see and all that we smell might just be an illusion. So to that, I just remembered a story, and I would like to just say that out. So there was this in Monza, Italy. Once the city council, they you know what they did? They barred pet owners from keeping their fishes in round aquariums. Now that was because the fishes got a distorted view of reality, like an illusion, and that made some scientists, including Stephen Hawking, think that uh, even we might be living in an illusion that maybe Earth is only the center of the solar system, not the sun, and this might be a complete illusion. So that was that was an excerpt from Stephen Hawking's Grand Design, and one company actually monetized this illusion thing. So what they did was they had a straight plane mirror, and then they added a curvature to it. So and deployed it at in malls, so that where you try on dresses and you would look thin, slim. So you would feel that you are looking very good, so you would buy it, and their sales actually increased phenomenally. So but
Yes,
after some time this was
the
actually
mirror
caught.
creates the illusion. Yeah, those are different kinds of, yes.
Yeah, so it was really a great review. Thank you, and yeah,